Hello, my name is Mike, aka SureSight1987, and I'm bringing you a video review of UFO Aftershock. Aftershock is the second of three. UFO Aftermath was the first, and Afterlight is the third, and in my opinion Aftershock is the best of all of them. So you start off on the Earth, you've captured the Laputa, which is an alien ship, which is part of the tutorial about actually capturing this. You basically move around the planet and you can take over kind of outposts and things, create bases, of which then you can be developing kind of have kind of individual kind of specifications for kind of making weapons or armor and such, which I'll show you later on. So you start off with a small squad of troops, each kind of have certain traits and skills. For example, this guy's better at close range, so I'm switching him out for a pistol rather than a rifle, and this guy is switching a pistol for a rifle as he's kind of better equipped or better with rifles. As I move to my character David here, you can see that there are now able to train certain soldiers. The highlighted yellow areas are traits that still need to be improved. For example, David, has high strength and is able to, but his intelligence is quite low, so that really needs to be developed. Characters level up through going on missions, of which then after that you can actually develop each stat yourself, so you can actually change that rather than a character's natural progression where they'll develop traits which are kind of good for them. They'll develop traits that you want them to, so again there's a lot of specification, so you know, if you want a particular character to end up as a sniper, that's kind of your choice. So entering combat, you can choose which location you drop in on. It adds a little bit of predictability though, because enemies aren't going to spawn around you, so generally where you spawn they're not going to be, so you can, if you spawn at one end of the map, they're going to be at the other, so it's quite linear in that fashion and quite predictable.
So, you're from that flying thing, huh? That thing that looks as big as the moon? Thing that sometimes passes over our village? Well, it's pretty obvious you don't know jack about what's going on down here. Anyway, we sure...
So I've just skipped through some of the narrative there. So that was this is a human settlement that want my support, so obviously I've come down. The backstory is that there is, after the first one, biomass is all over the planet. That has now kind of created mutants of various degrees. So you've got these cyborgs and these psionics, which are two different kind of cultures that have used the biomass differently, and you've got the cultists who are your natural enemy in this and have all the kind of good guns that you kind of want to get to start with. And that's kind of the story, is basically kind of just taking over territory, and there will be a kind of a big event where a spaceship comes to take over, and then the kind of the whole game really kind of starts another kind of new storyline really of kind of survival. So combat is very much kind of your real-time strategy, much like Dragon Alliance, where you can set waypoints. You can pause at any moment using the space bar, such as I'm using now. Press C to cancel a person's actions, and then you can change their stance or the direction in which they're going, and it won't affect the game and kind of happen straight away. So for example, I'll ask these two guys to crouch walk. That slows them down.
What?
On my way. Ready, sir.
The combat itself is it could be perfected a bit better. Things like every time that someone stops an action, it automatically goes to that character. So whilst I'm in the middle of doing kind of live movement or live action, things like that, a character finishes their action and suddenly I'm moving that character across the screen rather than the person I was dealing with before. The camera can sometimes be a little bit awkward.
Ready, sir.
So, for example, you can change the levels in which things appear on.
What?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But overall, some things like, example, these pipes, for example, will remain there, so they can be a little bit awkward. But again, push down middle mouse button, and it's easy rotated and moved around. Some of the other features is the sight boxes. So for example, when I change to line of sight, an area gets greyed out, which means that this is the limitation of which my soldiers can see. So anything in the grey I can't see. There are kind of variations of vision later on where you get people with psychic abilities that are able to use psionic vision, rather, let's get that right. And that's kind of much like a thermal vision. It kind of very kind of blue and everything's kind of highlighted in a flashy yellow. and that's kind of good for when you're doing building range and you've got no visual line of sight on an enemy, but you kind of know where they're going to be coming from.
My attack is screwed.
So the game kind of expands out further. So this mission's going to give me my first outpost, which allows me to build a base and kind of get a start. So at the minute I'm using energy weapons, which I've taken from that alien ship. I can't make these energy cells at the moment, so there is going to be a shift where I can't no longer use these weapons, so I'm therefore going to have to start using old human weapons and developing those further to kind of make assault rifles, snipers, and eventually you can make some of my own energy weapons. So as you kind of go on, some enemies are resistant to certain types of fire, or say to energy fire or to projectile fire. So you kind of design your squad around kind of whatever you approach upon.
Orders, Commander.
So
Orders, Commander.
It's a well worthwhile game. This is on Steam now for £5. I don't know what that is in dollars. I guess about $7. And this is a game you could easily get 60 hours of play out of. So as I said, this game is huge. I mean, and the level of customization on this is incredible. In fact, starting off with these energy weapons, you can create kind of whatever you want. So your team later on, you can train and have a complete squad of snipers. You could have people with rocket launchers, or you could have people with samurai swords and throwing stars and stuff like that. So there's a real diversity.
Good to
as well, the perks of this being released on Steam is that you don't have all the patches. I use a Windows 8.1 operating system. I have no problems with this. Whereas when I had the CD-ROM version, I had to download patches in order for it to be compatible with newer versions. So it's kind of quite good that
he's gone.
It's out now, because it's such a brilliant game. I wish they released kind of older games really like this. Whether you kind of do like a gold club rather than like GOG.com that have all these kind of older games on. Steam should get a bit of the slice of the pie really, so they can play these games and have them out. So what else can we discuss about this game? Gosh.
What?
So combat's pretty straightforward.
What now?
You can
Good to go.
hit them depending on a probability scale. Friendly fire's involved as well, so if a character of mine gets too close or walks into the line of fire, there is a probability of them getting hit and hurt.
Ready, sir.
Combat does evolve later as well. It's very basic, so it's a very mild learning curve to start with, where you're given these alien weapons that are quite accurate to start with. But as you develop into human weapons, they do actually get a lot less accurate, so you're relying on modifications and attachments to help, such as 2 or 3s or stabilizers and such like this, to improve levels of accuracy, as well as while you're training all your characters to be better with these weapons. Having riflemen that are good with, obviously, with rifles and snipers as well, with obviously their kind of specialization. So there's a lot of development, and again, people like to play using various kind of different team styles. So, whether you like to do a traditional medic, heavy sniper, and then a couple of riflemen, or whether you want to do all snipers, whether you want to do all, you can do called rangers, which are combat specialists. So they get right up close with commando weapons, and they can use samurai swords and throwing stars and stuff. Or you can have cyborgs loaded out with machine guns and rocket launchers. It's really up to you how you want to use your team. But of course, within that, I guess you've equally got to have teams that for different reasons. So some of the mission styles in this, or mission types rather, are, it might be capture certain alien, bring it back home, so you have to incapacitate an enemy and bring it back. It might be a rescue where there are the psionics or humans or cyborgs can say, look, we've been attacked, we want help. So you go in there and have to rescue them. So you don't really want to be using explosive weapons or anything like that if you've got a load of your allies running around, or if you're worried about killing an enemy. You don't want to be shooting it with a 50 caliber rifle. You want to be using something a bit more tame. So that's kind of some elements of kind of really thinking about it and planning how you attack. So we've got a new enemy here, the Brain Man. So I'm going to move my other force round, just make sure there's nothing in that building.
Again?
Yes,
Get
sir.
flank round. So that's again part of the
What?
a bit of strategy there, where you can, it's basic as it is, but
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
this is top stuff. I mean, this is stuff that newer games such as
Good
Jagged
to go.
Alliance will use, and a lot of games will still use this kind of turn-based or even real-time strategy style kind of gameplay. Even now, there's
Heads
a lot in
up.
the green light on Steam that's just again turn-based, whereas this is a bit more live, a
orders,
bit more action,
Commander?
a bit more thinking on your feet
Ready,
as
sir.
things go on.
What now? Yeah, I'm going.
Yes,
Like
sir.
hell I will.
Good to go. Kick ass.
Yeah, I see him.
So I'm going to
Yes,
fast forward
sir.
on to base creation.
What now?
So
What?
after winning
We'll
that
have to get him.
battle, I've got a base now called Stuttgart. So we're based in Germany, obviously. So within that area, we can now build. So you're given each base can have a certain level of size. Some bigger than others. The green areas can highlight kind of where buildings can be built, can be placed. So at the minute, all I've got is this factory, which is the only thing I can build at the moment. But when I slip over to the next tab, which is research, there are availability of new floor plans, stuff like that. So as my knowledge increases using libraries and college buildings, I can research kind of higher things such as building cyborg parts or psionic gear, or high technological weapons such as energy or snipers and stuff like that. You need a high level of knowledge. So the game shifts to actually base management as well, and actually you want to have bases that are ammunition based, so they're creating all your ammo, to ones that are creating all your guns, to ones that is your medical one, or your cyborg one. So you start to kind of shift a lot of these things around, and having to demolish buildings, replace them with newer ones that can do the same function. There's a level of diplomacy as well. As you make friends with the humans, psionics and cyborgs, they will offer you men. So for example, here I've got two people of very low level, so as my relationship improves with the humans, they would offer me better troops, sometimes with already specialties attached to them, such as snipers or rangers or leaders. So that's been UFO Aftershock. I've been Mike, aka Shoresight 1987, and I hope you've enjoyed this review.